Hey, it's me. I'm back again. Aren't you excited? I know you are. Um, I am too. So yeah, interesting times we're living in right now. I've just been thinking about how interesting it is parenting adult children and watching them go through like the different stages of life and woke up early this morning. Sorry for that. And remembering like that, I went through these stages too. And I feel like, we raise our kids a certain way and then like our kids rebel against us because like that's them being independent and like that's cool, like we want them to be independent, right? We want them to form their own beliefs and move forward and investigate and try things out and see what they believe and what they don't believe, right? And that's always nice, and in human design, we're able to look at our children's charts and get a better idea of like why they are the way they are and maybe why they function the way they do. Maybe, why some of them feel like they need to be more rebellious or, find out things for themselves or, why they need to try all these different things. And human design really helps us to understand that and be able to give our children what they need and be able to support them in a way that allows them to grow without us conditioning them into thinking that they need to be anything other than who they are. Right? So, a couple of my kids have line 3s or line 6s in their profiles, right? And so in human design, line 3s and 6s in the younger part of their lives really need to fuck around and find out. They learn by experience. They learn by trial and error. So they have to try things out and then decide if they like it or not. I don't know. I woke up way too early and I went to bed way too late. But yeah, so, those line 3s, like we have to let them go through their experiences and not be like, ooh, this is not going to go well. Like we have to just like stand there and like watch them like go in a way that maybe we realize isn't going to be comfortable for them, but they're going to learn something from it, right? Like, they're riding their skateboard down a hill and we're like, ooh, this might not end well, right? But it always does. They learn maybe not to go so fast down a hill, or maybe this hill isn't safe for skateboarding, They have to learn those kinds of things. And then they know for next time, like they learn boundaries, they learn lessons, they learn, what they like and what they don't like, and refine their intentions for how they want to move forward, And we can't stand in their way. We can't condition them to examine why they want to do things. That's how they figure out what they want, by the process of eliminating what they don't want. So it's just interesting having the ability, like I do, to have my children's charts and look at, their determination, like looking at different parts of their human design chart, not just their profile, to understand like, oh, okay, yeah, this kid needs structure, and then this kid needs more like guidance, or, maybe this kid just needs me to step back and like let them figure it out for themselves. Some kids want more independence, and then other kids want more guidance, right? And being able to have your kids chart and, so that you're able to see, like, also too, where your two charts combine to create harmony and interest, or where they push and repel each other to create space, right, for independence. It's pretty amazing. So in my human design experiment, very early on, I started looking at my kids' charts and examining our charts together, doing relationship readings, as we call them in human design, where we take two charts and we apply them to each other and kind of compare them to each other. And, we can see what we're learning from each other. But we can also see where disagreements might come up, or difficulties in understanding each other might come up, or, areas where someone gets irritated or annoyed with the other, right? Where potential arguments or disagreements could come up. And so relationship readings are incredibly powerful for parents to have with their children, so that they can understand the relationship better, right? Because, we don't want to push our kids away, right? We don't want to make them feel like we don't understand, right? They want to have us as a resource to come to, discuss things when they need to. And, we really, as parents, need to be open to, allowing these kids to go through their experiments and through their experiences to learn, because life is experiential, like, we can't teach them. Some kids you can teach from experience, from your experiences and from example, but most kids need to, like, experience things themselves. So we can't expect them to understand, like, oh, I've been through this, you shouldn't do that, right? Like, they gotta, like, learn, right? So I'm so full of yawns today. My brain must need extra oxygen. But yeah, so, like, human design is really helpful with kids. It really is. I found that it's been extremely helpful. I wish that I had known about it earlier. I used astrology, obviously, when my older kids were little, to understand them better. And that's cool. I love that. And I love now combining human design with astrology to understand them even deeper, and also understand our relationships and just, all the things, so that I can be the best parent that I can be, and be the most supportive and helpful, and guide them in ways that truly support them in their own experiment, and help them to grow into the version of themselves that they came here to be, so that they can do the beautiful, amazing things that they came here to do, right? Because, I feel like everyone came here for a reason. Everyone came here to do something, and especially at this time in history where we're going through this huge shift and humanity is evolving, and we all have our own little job or purpose in that evolution. And if we're not doing it, we're kind of like holding the whole production back, right? So, like, we all need to step up and do what we came here to do, and find our authentic life purpose, right? And so if we have human design to be able to do that with kids, we can help guide them and steer them and support them in their true life's purpose, right? Not pushing them into doing things that we think they should be doing, or, oh, you would be good at this, or, oh, you should be good at this, or, oh, your dad did this, or, oh, your mom did this, so you should do this too, right? Or, oh, like, you have these talents or whatever. Knowing their incarnation cross and, their determination and how their brain works and how they how they function and how their energy functions in the world and how they best communicate with others and how, how their energy plays out in the world, is so helpful to be able to guide them. So yeah, that's why I love human design in parenting. And I've been having some really cool conversations with friends lately about parenting and also holding space for our kids, as they become adults. I have a range of ages of my children. My youngest is turning 16 in a couple days, and then my oldest is turning 29. So it's like, I've got kids in different phases of their life, and you don't really think about how your adult kids still need parenting and still need you. When they're little, you think, oh, when they turn 18, like, oh yeah, that's the end. Nope, it isn't. It isn't. And in some ways it actually gets harder, because you don't have, not to say that you ever have control of kids, but you don't have any like authority, right? So it's like you can't really be of service and help them unless they ask for your help, right? And I mean, I guess that's a good way to go about it even when they're little is, asking for consent, right? Before you offer advice or help. But, when they're little, it's different, right? Because you actually have to take care of them and meet their needs and help them to make decisions because, their brain isn't really developed enough to make decisions for themselves when they're little, right? So, you get used to doing that for them. And then as they get older, you kind of have to release that and give it over to them and trust them to make the best decisions for themselves. So, it really is helpful to know how their energy works and know a little bit about their chart. So, yeah, I love doing children's readings for parents and also relationship readings for parents too, to help them understand their relationships. And it's nice to do with your partner, but it's also nice to do with your children too. So if you're a parent and you want to learn more about your child or more about your relationship, I highly advise those 2 sessions. I'll post the links below this voice note if you want to check them out. I think that now is the perfect time to really kind of step into that because, we're all coming out of our caves in this springtime weather, even though here in Southern California, it kind of feels like we've returned to winter a little bit for a second. It's still spring. We're still moving forward. It's still, we're moving forward into this more open and understanding energy, more outward facing energy. We're in Aries season and now we're in the Aries moon cycle too. And it's just all about taking action and moving forward. And I think part of that is, gaining a better understanding of the relationships that we're in and the people that, we're going through life with, right? They're part of us, you know what I mean? They're part of our journey. And so I think understanding our relationships is pretty nice and pretty helpful for our journey as well as making our lives more enjoyable, right? So yeah, that's kind of my little ramble today. I've just been thinking about my kids because I have 2 birthdays coming up this week of my children, and it's just interesting watching them grow and have their own families and become parents themselves. And I just love them so much. And so it's just nice to be able to have a better understanding and create relationships that are really truly nurturing so that they want to be around me and that they want to come to me when they need advice or need to vent or need to discuss things or, want guidance in certain ways, they trust me because I'm going to hold space for them and help them to come to conclusions, and I'm not going to be bossy. I'm not going to be judgy. I'm going to be open, and, they can come to me and land in a safe place for a while before they need to go out back into the world. So, if you're looking to become that kind of parent or continue that kind of parenting, I highly advise bringing human design into the equation. So, yeah, I'm going to go right now and get the Gate 21 report out and up on Substack. I'm super excited. I've been mulling over and thinking about this energy for the last couple days and going over the notes that I've written about it for the last couple years of tracking. And I love this energy because I feel like it's a turning point and also very helpful. And so I hope that you're able to check it out later. It's really perfect for this time. It's so funny how every gate is always so perfect for what's going on in the world. It's such a trip. When I first started tracking the sun's transits through the human design mandala, I was not expecting it to make this much sense, right? Or to ring this true. But it really does every year too. Like the first year I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. The second year I was like, oh, that had to be just a coincidence that it ended up like that, right? But like every year that I've been tracking it for the last 3 years, it's always right on. And I'm just like, how is this cycle so true? How are we really all influenced by this energy? But we are. We totally are. So it's a really awesome cycle to get to know and to use for self-awareness. So I hope that you're enjoying the Solar Collective series that I'm doing. And I'm putting it together into a book. It's going to be really great. So I hope that you have a beautiful day. And we'll chat later. Bye, sweetheart.